Okay, so what do you get when you mix Mission Impossible, Control, and The Expendables? Well, you get Black Ops 6. Treyarch seems to have drawn inspiration from all kinds of different media, and honestly, it made for a very enjoyable experience, with the whole game feeling like a very thought out and complete package. With this being the 6th Black Ops game and the 22nd entry into the Call of Duty franchise, it needed to stand out. It had to innovate, and innovate it did. This game takes place after Black Ops Cold War, which, in my opinion, had an alright campaign. It tried to capture the essence of Black Ops 1, but it ended up just feeling really hollow. That's not the case with this game though. It genuinely feels like a game that can stand on its own, and while playing, I kind of forgot it was even a Call of Duty. It just felt like a great FPS campaign, which is honestly saying a lot. It's almost like giving your developer time to actually develop makes a better game. Treyarch made the right game at the right time. In a series that has started to get stale narrative-wise, they had to take the series back to what made it great in the first place, and all that took was making the campaign fun as fuck. Yeah, I love the multiplayer aspect of COD, but the campaign was something that I always looked forward to every year. In the past few years, they've just been lacking in all kinds of ways, and Treyarch definitely took a risk that paid off, and that risk was the style of campaign they decided to make. This is not your run-of-the-mill Call of Duty. It plays more like a Mission Impossible movie, with espionage being one of the main driving factors behind all of the missions. I was shocked when the game showed off its true colors, because the first mission is pretty standard with the giant set pieces that you come to expect from every Call of Duty, but when the second mission begins, you find yourself playing a CIA agent, trying to kill specific targets, and it plays out more like a stealth game rather than a bare-bones shooter. Not to say that the game doesn't have its fair share of big action sequences though, it actually gets very over the top at times.
Get ready!
When I say espionage, I mean full-on heists and Hitman-esque missions, in a fucking Call of Duty out of all games. Certain missions in this game play out so flawlessly with the stealth and overall flow, and there's even dialogue options as if it were a Bethesda game. It's just very odd to see this, but I absolutely loved every second of it. And hell, even lockpicking returned, and there's a Wordle-type code cracking system as well. Now, you may hear all of this and think that stealth is the end-all be-all way to play, but that's not true. Minus a couple fully stealth sections, you can play however you like. You can go in fully guns blazing, or stick to the shadows and pick people off one by one. With the variety of mission types that Black Ops 6 has, it's easy to experiment with different playstyles. One mission in the game is fully open, and they give you a map to do any objective that you please in any order that you like. I know this was done in last year's MW3, or at least attempted, but it's so much better here. I couldn't even bring myself to beat that campaign, which is rare for me to do with a COD. I just thought it was genuinely atrocious. But in this game, whether I was going loud or quiet, I had a lot of fun. And the new Omni movement that has been talked and raved about feels very good, and it's really satisfying to get a kill after diving around a corner as if you're Max Payne, or just flopping around like a fish. The animations are also very high quality, with my favorite being all of the executions. Some are kind of tame, but others are just brutal. This is all mixed with some very satisfying gunplay that really amps up the gunfights in any mission. And another feature that I forgot to mention is the upgrade system and the central hub in the game. This adds just an added layer of depth that honestly is very welcome, and the upgrades aren't shoved down your throat either. This feature is just there if you want to use it. But even with all these new features, Black Ops 6 feels like a return to form for the series, and it's fitting that Treyarch is the developer to do it. They've always been the ones to experiment with the way they present their stories. They usually go for the more surreal route, as opposed to Infinity Ward, who honestly make campaigns as if you're expected to enlist into the military after beating it. Now, obviously, the campaign sees the return of Frank Woods and Russell Adler. I could have told you that 4 years ago, but they are both fantastic in this game, and Adler is quickly becoming one of my favorite COD characters, mainly because I think he's just a badass. In fact, the entire cast is great. There are a few new characters like Savati Dumas, Troy Marshall, who is my personal favorite, then there's Felix Newman and Jane Harrow. A couple characters from Cold War also make an appearance, those being Helen Park and Sims. They each have a role to play in the story, of course, and the whole team feels a lot more ragtag than something like Task Force 141 from the OG Modern Warfare trilogy. In short, the story takes place in 1991 during the Gulf War. You play as a CIA rogue agent named Case, but before you are considered a rogue, you, along with Troy Marshall and Jane Harrow, go on a mission to Kuwait in order to secure the Minister of Defense. This mission takes a turn and is hijacked essentially by Adler and a group known as the Pantheon. And upon returning from the mission, you and your team go rogue after receiving a tip from Adler, which brings you to the main headquarters of the game, called the Rook. You and the team then decide to take on Pantheon without any help from the CIA. Pantheon has possession of a bioweapon called the Cradle, which essentially turns subjects into zombies. This is kind of when the game shifts to a much more surreal experience. The story really doesn't get that much deeper, but the presentation becomes a lot more complex, and I think that is easily the biggest appeal of this campaign. It's almost like taking a normal Nathan's hot dog and covering it in gold flakes and caviar. It looks and tastes more complex, but it's still just a hot dog. Now, this hot dog has one of the best COD missions in recent memory, and it's probably the most unique one as well. This is the point in the game when Treyarch decided to take a page out of Remedy's book and went full on control. If Infinity Ward had a board meeting where this idea was brought up, they would immediately fire that writer. That's how you know the idea is fantastic. This mission is not only experimental, but it's monumental for the series as a whole. Like I said earlier, the last handful of COD campaigns have been really stale, and there was definitely a lot of fatigue when it came to the narratives. This is easily the most fun I have had on a COD mission in a while, and it even tugged on some nostalgia strings for me, since they used the song 115 from Kino. Now, the mission starts out with Case falling into toxic gas, which causes him to hallucinate mannequins and zombies everywhere in the facility. Once the mission opens up, you are tasked with getting 4 colored keycards to access the main elevator. While getting these keycards, you hear voices and get phone calls that reveal Case's past.
Cradle can't hurt us anymore. We're special. Cradle Project failed us, Case. We were out of control, violent, maniacal.
It is said that Case was a test subject for the Cradle, and he went by the name of Case 1. And as you mow down zombies, you gain access to a grapple hook, which was just awesome, and I'm really hoping it makes a return in Treyarch's next COD. It's very reminiscent of Ruin's grappling gun from the Black Ops 4 multiplayer, and it felt great to use. And don't even get me started on the executions. This whole experience just felt like a love letter to the fans of zombies and previous Treyarch campaigns. It was a perfect blend of the two, and it just really shows the lengths that Treyarch will go in order to provide a unique experience for its players. They didn't stop at Emergence either. There's more dreamlike scenarios in the mission Separation Anxiety, which is also very good. I just felt like Emergence was the true standout mission, and I just had to talk about it. The mission lineup this year is so elite that you could honestly go on and on about every single one of them, but I'll spare you guys for now. Black Ops 6 is a testament to how much Treyarch cares about the franchise. Everything about this campaign reignited my once boyish excitement for the new Call of Duties. I still remember playing through Black Ops 1 as a kid and experiencing Vorkuta for the first time, or getting blindsided by the fact that Reznov wasn't real. And Black Ops 6 managed to activate old memories like this, while also adding new ones in the process. This game is a fantastic entry into the Black Ops series and is a fresh take on such a classic formula, and as time passes, I could see it being mentioned in the same breath as the greats. What'd you guys think of the Black Ops 6 campaign? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Or were you a little indifferent about it? Let me know down in the comments. And remember, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. See you in the next one.